just going to go over some basic tools in social media and Web 2.0 that may or may not help you in moving forward with your journalism career. But the one overarching point that I would love you to take home tonight is that you have to experiment with this stuff. It is just an experiment. There is so much out there. You have no idea what tools might work for you, what tools might not, and it's a very personal thing. But when I say experiment, it's like everything in life. When you read or see it or hear somebody speak about it, it's one thing. When you actually do it, it's completely different. Think of a roller coaster. I'm going to tell you about a roller coaster, and then suddenly you're on the thing, and it's the most horrible experience ever. Or really good. In this case, social media, I hope, is really good. But you got to get in there. And I've never seen such a discrepancy in life as there has been, and I'm making a big pronouncement here, as there is between reading about these tools and actually doing them. They're very abstract. So when you ask, why wouldn't you email somebody instead of Twittering them? I know, like it's true. But when you get into it, things start happening. But what is ultimately the point, right, for us as journalists? I think there's many points why people go on social media, but there's two specific things, and among other things that might be useful for journalists that might be hopefully useful for you guys and for me. Visibility and finding stories. I found that this has been the biggest things that I've gotten from social media. Now with visibility, obviously it's important. You want editors to be able to find you. You want sources to find you. You want other colleagues to find you. What do you see when you Google your name? Now if you're coming up with just a list of your articles, you can do so much more than that. So if you are just coming up with that, join an online community. I mean, even when I launched an online community at Scientific American, I sometimes have a difficulty promoting them, but they work. Nature Network, as most of you know, is one of the largest science communities online. Just putting a profile on Nature Network, because it's so highly indexed by Google, will jump your visibility by a substantial number. It's quite amazing. Now, to get the most of an online network, you should be kind of interacting with other people on that network. But even just posting a profile can help. And then from there, you might expand further. And by even just being on Nature Network, scientists can obviously reach you, and you can see what other scientists are up to, maybe come up with story ideas. If you don't already have a web presence that's your own, I strongly recommend just getting one. And now there are so many platforms that make it dead easy, and I can help anyone after the fact, in the breakout sessions, to go through how to set up a WordPress account or a Tumblr. These are two platforms upon which you can start a blog. Tumblr is a much more stripped down version of a typical blog. Tumblr is gaining a lot of mainstream attention recently. They've got $4.5 million worth of funding in December, go figure, in this climate, but they're doing well. And I'm really a fan of Tumblr now. Twitter, of course, is our favorite. I love Twitter. And I did not love it. I've been on it for 2.5, right when it first started, and my feed was dead up until March of last year. And I just started seeing some movement, and then it's just taken off like crazy. Now Twitter, I put a asterisk behind it because what's specific about Twitter that might help is that, really it's still relatively new. There's still an opportunity for you to create an identity, a brand, or even a group publication on Twitter. It's like the beginning of blogs, as it were, a little bit, if the company survives. I'm using Alexis Madrigal from Wired. He's a reporter at Wired as an example of somebody who's been using social tools and Web 2.0 tools to greatness. I mean, he's really definitely upped his visibility online. I know that he's gotten some opportunities from even my co-producer and myself, because we've noticed him and been reminded about him online, because he's everywhere. Right here is his byline. I don't want to rip this. I can carry this. This is his byline. It's under every single thing that he writes in the blog on Wired. Another person is Phil Plait. Many of you know him as Bad Astronomy. He's a super social media person, and he basically is also a great self-promoter. This is his Twitter feed. As you can see, his book is his wallpaper behind it. He's also double posting, right? So NASA fake shuttle image, and I caught them, and then today he posted it on the Discover blog. So he's hitting it in both places. There's an automation tool that you can do to help that. And I'm not telling all of you to necessarily fire hose everything, but it's working for him. He knew that I was highlighting him, so of course he got excited. The media is dying as an example of a group publication. I call it almost a publication. For those of you who don't know, it's about 12, 15 flacks got together and started to blow by blow document the destruction of our industry. And it's not been that cheerful. They've just today, actually a couple hours ago, launched The Media is Hiring. So get on Twitter, look at The Media is Dying, and look at The Media is Hiring. The reason why I bring this up is that it's just an idea that came to me even just yesterday when I was thinking about what to say. Even 5 of you, if you're into physics or neuroscience or green or whatever, can get together and start a group tweet, or whatever you'd want to call it, a Twitter feed, and start almost a brand of your own. I mean, there's room there, and there's certainly room in science journalism for this. Finding stories is the other thing. So we got visibility and finding stories. Go beyond Eureka Alert. Google Trends and Yahoo Buzz are what editors are using maybe too much, a lot in the last 12 months. It's just completely taken off. At Scientific American, a lot of our stories have been coming from Google Trends. So you're going to notice like John Travolta was on our blog because his son may have died from Kawasaki syndrome. So our editor will look at Google Trends, which is the top 100 hottest items, phrases and words that anyone is searching for on Google at any one time. So, and Yahoo Buzz is pretty much the similar thing. There's a lot of these trending sites cropping up. So what you look for is you'll see something like John Travolta, and then you kind of try to fit a science angle in there, and you'll be surprised how easy it is. Twitter search is something to use. I highly recommend it for reporting. Twitter.search.com. Type in, use it as you would Google. 1 minute? Okay, great. Use it as you would Google, but what you're going to get is stuff off the beaten path. So type in, let's say you're working on a neuroplasticity article. Type in neuroplasticity. What you're going to find is some interesting people that you may not have even thought of as sources. They're going to have papers or presentations that they're going to link to. It'll surprise you. So go home or even tonight, test out Twitter search. RSS feed, some people hate it. I love it. It's the only way I get through 100 blogs. It's coordinating all of them into one place, stripping it down. These are just some trend sites, and I don't use social bookmarking with Delicious, but a lot of my colleagues do. For sharing with other colleagues, I use Google Docs, which is like a wiki. Again, most of this, just as a final note, all these tools really do is they take an enormous amount of information, you be the filter, and it puts it all in one place. And you can share it with other people that are relevant. And that's it.